Hello, this is Richard Lowe, and this is Leaders in Their Stories podcast. I'm here with Ben, the Automator Christensen, who is an expert at automation, and we're going to talk about why perhaps you shouldn't use AI and automate. What are the reasons against? That's why this is called the other side of the coin. So, Ben, why don't you do a little short introduction, and then we'll go ahead and have a chat.
Sure. Uh, I am Ben the Automator Christensen. I have automated over 300 full-time positions, about 650,000 hours of tasks, and over $16 million in savings. Pretty much all I do is think about automation, and when I'm not doing that, I karaoke Britney Spears.
Well, this sounds fun. We're not going to ask you to karaoke Britney Spears on this podcast.
I think your viewers will appreciate that.
Yes, I value my ears. Uh, So we had to talk about this before the podcast, and I think that looking at the other side of the coin, which is reasons that you be cautious about automation or using AI, um, or not use it at all. Um, I think one of those reasons is people just jump into it without even thinking about it, especially AI. They just start doing it, and then they get all tangled in a web of garbage that they shouldn't have gotten tangled in the first place. What do you think?
Everybody says, oh, get an AI assistant. They'll be the most loyal. They don't call in sick. They don't do all these things. But what about the defiance, right? I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this, Richard. Have you ever been interacting with your GPT and then it tells you something that you don't want?
Oh, all the time,
Right.
all
And
the time.
ironically, GPTs are usually programmed to please the user, right? The whole goal of a GPT is to be a servant in a literal sense and provide them with an answer, with a positive experience. And I got tired of that so much the other day that I actually added special custom instructions to make sure that it just gives it to me as plain as possible with no bias towards anything.
Yeah, I had a situation recently where I was putting together using Claude. I like Claude the best. Where I was putting together a marketing plan, and we spent the whole weekend on it. We're working on this marketing plan, getting off all different things, all different, looking at different options and things like that. Have this beautiful plan put together, and then I said, Claude, what are the fallacies in this marketing plan? And it just went and basically said it's not going to work. It's like, well, why did you bring me down the rabbit hole? Said it apologized, like Plot always does. And it's like you can easily get off into an echo chamber or a rabbit hole if you give it the wrong questions.
Absolutely. One thing I would say for any of the viewers out there that would like to have more well thought out plans is try this. Say, I'd like you to complete task, fill in the task, utilize second and third order principles when thinking through this, and use a scratch pad to keep track of your thoughts. Provide your progress as you're going through it. Ask me any questions you need to until you're 95% sure you can complete the task.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I found this especially true. I was experimenting on, okay, can you write a book with Claude or any AI? And the answer is it's really hard, and you wind up spending more time doing it than you would if you just wrote the damn thing yourself. Because AI wanders and it goes off in these weird directions and it writes this awful, awful writing. It's just terrible. And it gets worse and worse as you go. So you're writing say, a 20 chapter book. By chapter 20, it's just garbage.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It
and you have to keep pushing it back. And finally, I was thinking this experiment has already proven what I need to prove, that it really not easily doable.
I think that if you're looking for quality output, the one thing that you have to understand about AI is the context window. And a lot of people will complain and say that oh, well, it totally forgot where we were going, or it doesn't remember these key
Hmm.
pieces of information. And when you're writing a 20 chapter book, I could imagine that the context window is pretty massive,
Oh,
right?
it doesn't even have a context window anymore. It just loses it. Character
So
names change, characters are different characters. It just totally lost. And then you have the problem where the session can't be that long. So it has to break session. So you have to constantly tell it, record where you are so that I can copy it to the next session if necessary. And if you forget to do that, God help you, because it doesn't give you any warning.
yeah, I ran into that with Copilot recently. I want to stay on topic though. You know, we were talking about AI
Yeah.
reasons you shouldn't use AI. Books might be one of them, right? Personal assistance without constant tuning would be another. Um, I would say that you really have to weigh the concept of, do you really want to replace a human entirely, or do you still want human in the loop? Human in the loop is a common term that we use in cybersecurity, but it's also one of those things that I think benefits everyone. If you could have your system raise its hand when it's not sure about the outcome, or it experiences some type of weird error, that's what bringing human in the loop is. And even for approvals and different things like that, a lot of companies are just implementing AI, saying, oh man, we're going to save, you know, 20-30% on overhead because we won't have this cost anymore, which is usually employees. And that's not great, because now you have the unemployed market saturated with high skilled and qualified tech professionals that are having problems finding jobs.
Hmm.
So what would you not use AI for, Richard?
Well, besides trying to write a novel, I would use it as an assistant in that case, but not write the novel. Um, I probably wouldn't put it anything in anywhere where human lives are at risk, like medical. Definitely wouldn't have it say, no, we're talking AI, do brain surgery without a brain surgeon there. Um, it might be very good at, say, mapping the brain and figuring out things and telling you when there's a problem, and that's great. But nothing's going to replace that brain surgeon knowing what he knows and doing whatever brain surgeons do. Same with, say, autonomous warfare. I don't think or RoboCops kind of things. It was a great movie. The first one was a great movie. The one back in the 90s. A little bloody, but I wouldn't have autonomous robotic cops. That's probably not a good idea. Also, robotic autonomous drones for like Amazon, probably not a good idea because there's things you can.
Sure.
I'm not even sure having autonomous self-driving cars is a good idea.
So I want to bring up something I saw the other day, right? So there was a article about a startup that was utilizing an agentic AI, and the agent decided to delete the entire code base. Now this has been newsworthy, not code base, sorry, the database. This has been newsworthy. People talk about it on all social channels, but I mean, if I don't know if you've ever used any of the vibe coding platforms, Lovable or any of those, right? But it literally will tell you, hey, I'm about to delete your database. Do you want to continue?
Hmm.
Are you sure you would like me to delete your database? Right. And most of the time, people are just like, yeah, whatever. Just do your job, AI. And that, I believe, is a problem. So as far as things that I wouldn't use AI for, I wouldn't use AI for my entire code base structure. There is a lot of problems with the security side of things. There's also a lot of problems with breaking functionality over and over and over again. And I've experienced this using Claude Code recently. I'm actually in the middle of coding 3 different apps. Why code the apps? Well, they're just little tools. right? If their little tools say something under 10,000 lines of code, you're probably okay. But anything more than that, you're going to run into the same context window issues. You're going to run into the same things that we kind of discussed, even using things like GitHub Copilot when you're programming. Now, other things that I was curious, because I didn't hear you mention this, what do you think about the AI law bots that are just, hey, we're going to save you a whole bunch of money because you're not going to have to hire a lawyer? Do you believe that the AI law bots are the same as like an AI healthcare? Do you believe that there's significant risk there?
think there's very significant risks. Uh, AI lies all the time, and some lawyers, I believe, have been disbarred because they sent stuff to the court that was false. Just cases didn't even exist. Um, I would I would definitely want a human in the loop in those things. I like to call it human in the loop. Um, Man in the middle, the whole thing has a different
Mm-hmm.
meaning, but you want to have somebody there to check things. I just wrote a plugin I needed a plugin in WordPress. I've never written WordPress plugins before, PHP, and I said I need a plugin to do this, and it did it perfect the first time. It's like cool. It's just a short one, it's probably half a page of code, PHP code, and it was great. And then I said, well, I need another one to do this and this and this, a little more complicated. Totally messed it up. And once it messes it up, there's sometimes no recovery. In this case, it just got worse and worse and
I
worse
agree. I
until I
agree.
finally just I'm going to do it myself. So, I've been a coder before, so I just picked up a little PHP thing and figured it out and did it myself and didn't have all the bugs because those bugs were pretty horrific.
I totally agree. I spent several $100s actually last month going through these different vibe coding platforms trying to figure out what actually works, what doesn't work, right? And I ended up on like version 6, version 7 of an app because I had to almost recreate it from the ground up. The code base was so convoluted that it allowed the a single file, because it doesn't understand modular thinking. It allowed a single file to get, to 20,000 lines, and then it was like, oh, I can't read that. Yeah,
Mhm.
you can't read it, nor can I at this point, because there's so much going on in there. I do want to caution, or I want to clarify that I'm not saying not to use AI. I just want to say that you should use it with caution. You should always make sure that you're monitoring the tasks, that you're doing different things, uh, smartly, right? You want to make sure that the task that you are performing, you're periodically checking on. New versions of models get released all the time. The inclination of anyone is, oh, I got to use the new hotness. I got to make sure that I have the latest version of a model. And just like when your phone updates, sometimes things can go sideways. So if you're a business owner out there and you've got this fully automated system, do some Q&A checks, do some different things along those lines. I've done voice assistants for for various different businesses, electricians, plumbers, pest control companies, things like that. And I still QA all of the calls because I want to make sure that you don't end up in a loop. AI, especially in voice, does not understand inflection and takes that as an anger. And
Mhm.
so in one case, I've actually seen an AI bot yelling at a customer because it brought up something in a tone and then proceeded to be an all-out war. So that's
Yeah,
another thing that I would caution on.
I can imagine that does that. And then of course you've got the things like it's really not that great at images and videos yet. So you get these videos that are just awful or six fingers. I think that's getting better now. Um,
Google Veo is actually really awesome for that, right? And Sora, if you have enough money to dunk into it, isn't bad. either.
Well, but you still have to QA it. You still have to look at
Yeah.
it and
Oh,
make sure that
absolutely.
it's what you want, and you have to look at it very closely because there might be some subtle details in the background that you know, that maybe are racist that you didn't intend to. Uh, all kinds of stuff could happen if you don't QA it. And I think the key is how would you treat that stuff if it came from a person?
Right.
You would do this kind of QA. Good. Do the same thing with AI, maybe even a little more. And then you're probably going to be fine.
Now I'm going to poke the bear. What do you think about having AI QA AI?
I do that actually when I do some stuff with AI. I'll put it in Claude, have it generate something, and then I'll put it in ChatGPT and say, "What do you think?" And quite often, ChatGPT comes back and says, "That's crap." And I have a train, so it literally says, "That's crap." uh, it's funny. I don't think a couple of them won't say swear words, which is one reason why I don't use them because I want it to be what I want it to be,
Oh
not
yeah,
not put limits around me. I think the one that does is whatever the one Twitter uses. Uh,
Grok.
Grok won't let me swear. That Grok's feelings got hurt when I told it it was a piece of garbage, and it said, "Why are you talking to me like that?" I'm
So
like,
what you need is Grok unhinged.
ah,
So unhinged meaning that there's less programming. I wouldn't say that it's no programming, but significantly less. And it will full on insult you.
oh,
Uh,
Claude, just it'll insult the heck out of you. It told me, once, you're just stupid. And then I told it in a news session that it did that. And I said, I didn't say that. So I fed it its own session transcript, and it said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." It
so
was quite amusing.
on the social media part, so the other day someone commented on my LinkedIn video. I don't know if you saw it, but I've been using a service called captions.ai,
Hmm.
and someone was like, is this AI generated? Because it was a clone of me. Now I took 3 different clones of myself to be able to do this, and it took almost 6 weeks for people to realize that it was a cloned version of me. They thought it was just AI enhanced with
Interesting.
video editing, things like that. But I actually have both my LinkedIn and my TikTok, which kind of weird, but that was what the platform said that it supported. So I was like, YOLO, let's try it out, right? And I'm averaging more business, more views, more comments, interactions, etc., all from using something like that, because we as humans now are at the point where we may know that it's AI. We should probably expect that somebody used AI. You'll see an EM dash in something that somebody posts, and you'll go, yeah, that was probably generated with AI.
Or
But that's the world we live in.
in this digital world, I'm getting so tired of that. And I wrote a little story with AI,
Groundbreaking.
and it came up with the word Chen. This person named Chen, and this person's name Sarah Chen, and it's Nancy Chen, and this Chen. It's like, what is Chen the most common name in the entire universe? It gave me like 40 Chens in one little chapter. I was like, so I had to
So
put in a rule to tell it not to do that.
where do you think we're headed in the AI world? Where do you think that we are next going to say, wow, that was a bad idea to implement AI?
I think it's coming very soon. I think that the Gartner hype cycle, which I'm sure you know what it is, where it goes up and
Mm-hmm.
up and up and then crashes down and then raises back to a new normal, is definitely in effect now. I think we're hitting the peak. First of all, we're hitting the peak because of energy and because of heat of the data centers. So there's actually a physical limitation. We can't build nuclear power plants. That's why nuclear power is coming back. We can't build them fast enough to power this damn stuff. And if Trump is successful and China's actually, you know, tariffs its own stuff, we won't have those kind of computers being made anymore for a while. So there's that limitation. And then I think there's going to be a backlash. People, you can't have 20% of the workforce go unemployed and not be able to get employment without them backlashing. People want it. The one thing that causes a revolution faster than anything else is people not being able to drink water or eat or power. If they don't have the basics, that's when you're going to get a very, very upset populace, and that's going to cause geopolitical problems. And AI is reaching limits where I think people, there's so much excitement about AI. When you get into the AI rooms, there's people, oh, they're so excited. They're going to make this app. They're going to make that app. And they're all full of shit. They're just, it's like, dudes, think about people, not the how you can make
Hmm.
money off this new app. I'll tell you, I'm going to digress just a little bit and then I'll come back. The thing that's really pissing me off is on YouTube. There's so much AI garbage out there. Like this one where they interview characters in different movies, different time periods and stuff. They're just doing that for hits. And that's all going to die because it's, it's just a new thing right now. It's I think you're already seeing the backlash. People can't lose their jobs over AI anymore. And you're going to see politicians saying you can't do that. You're going to see companies being locked down because of that. You're going to see AI really rein back in. And who knows what will happen. Now, in countries like China, where they're having a massive, massive demographic problem, there's not enough people being born. Perhaps having a lot of AI and having a lot of automation that replaces people makes sense because you don't have people. Makes a lot of sense in Japan, but in the US, possibly not as much sense. So that's my thoughts on that.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel very strongly about employment and job markets and things like that, right? I mean, it, especially now, everyone is using ChatGPT to rewrite their resume, right?
Oh
And
yeah, of course.
if there's one thing that I would really, really caution on, it's using ChatGPT to rewrite your resume. You'll see this hook, you'll see these posts. Oh, I wasn't getting, I applied at 70 places and got 0 callbacks. Then I rewrote my resume using ChatGPT and I got 5 the next day. Well, the thing is that, as you said, right, ChatGPT lies. Most bots will lie in the preservation of making sure that you as the user is happy. The other thing that it does is, it will fabricate, it will hallucinate, it will tell things that are not true. And one of the things that I enjoy talking to leaders about is, hey, how hard has it been to fill this position? Oh man, we got flooded with resumes. We started interviewing them, and next thing you know, none of them were actually qualified. They couldn't make it through a panel
Hmm.
because GPT said, oh, these are all the keywords. Here's everything you need because we've analyzed the job description and we basically gamified the entire thing, and it got the interview, but it didn't end up getting the job. And meanwhile, there's candidates that are actually qualified that are being thrown in the trash because of poor formatting and various other things. So if you were going to use GPT to rewrite your resume, you want to make sure that you give it parameters. Act as an expert recruiter in this field. uh, Critique my resume and tell me why you wouldn't select me for this job. Insert job description, upload resume. Now, if you act as a expert resume writer, do not fabricate, do not hallucinate on the skill, on the extent of my abilities, but rewrite it so that I would get the job and then retry again with that same recruiter prompt. That's what I
I've
recommend.
I've actually come up with another method. I think it's becoming more common is where you create a board of directors or a board.
Yeah.
And I'll say for the resume idea, what I would do is say create recruiters for 15 different companies or however many makes sense. And I want each of them to look at this And it goes and it says, okay, finally you work it out, so it's fine. And it's okay, I want a different board of directors, board of these recruiters to look at it, and they tear it apart. And then I want a picky board of directors to look at it. And then I want a technically picky board of directors. And you keep doing that with different mixes. And it takes a
That's great.
while, but you eventually get one that actually meets all of the criteria, or you reject some of them because they're stupid. And and you just keep running it through these different kinds of people. It does it very fast. And tells you that, okay, I like this, but this is that, and this is that, and you did this too much, and you're going to get rejected because this. And then you put it through the interviewers and have them look at it. And then you put it through the hiring manager, and then you put it through the person in that position you're looking for. And you keep doing these different juggling of the thing, and this could work with anything. And you wind up getting something that's really good at the end because you've basically had a whole bunch of experts. Keeping in mind, they're all fictional. So they're going to lie.
Right.
That's why you have multiples. And then you do it in another GPT. So do one in Claude, do it in Claude, and then do it over in Chat GPT, or God forbid, Copilot. I hate Copilot. It's just tied too closely to Microsoft. To call the nag messages drive me crazy. You just install Copilot. No, I don't. Well, maybe tomorrow. I don't want your nag message. Yeah. So
Well,
that's the scoop.
yeah. I mean, we covered a number of things to use AI for, several to not use AI for on the other side of the coin.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I guess the answer is, if you're going to get brain surgery, do not use the AI version. Probably want a human in there. And just be careful like you would with any human. It's not perfect. In fact, treat it as a smart dog and you'll be fine. Or a small child and you'll be fine. It's going to make mistakes. It's going to do stupid things that you can't even believe how stupid it is. And it'll even admit it. Why did you do that? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. You know, uh, it's literally, and it's still in its infancy. And just be ready for that backlash that's coming. I think it's coming pretty soon. And it's a political backlash. It's going to be big. And if I were investing in AI, I'd be concerned about that because it's and the lack of power and the lack of heating or cooling. Those are the three things that are going to hit AI hard. And I think it's coming the next year or two at the most. And I think it's all good. I think that there needs to be some brakes put on this. It's going a little too fast. People need time to take a breath, and try out these things. We don't need a new version of the GPT every 3 hours. Claude does not need to update every day. Come on, give me a break. Let me learn the one I got. Anyway, so any final words?
Well, if you you know, shameless plug here, right? If you need help with automation in your business, or if you would like advisory, I do offer fractional leadership services, both CIOs as well as AI officer. And if you need a builder, I can build that too.
Well, very cool. Very cool. And you're also one of the nicest guys I know, so that's you're easy to work with.
Thank you so
So,
much. Appreciate
yes,
that.
you're not just some mindless GPT. Well,
I try to put a human in it,
yes, that's a good thing. I am Richard Lowe. This is the Writing King. This has been the Leaders in Their Stories podcast. Thank you for coming on, and we'll have another one, actually probably in a few days. And you can reach me at thewritingking.com. You can find me on LinkedIn under Richard Lowe, and there you go. So see you next time. Thanks.